Deviants, welcome back. On this episode of Deviant TV, we are discussing families of choice. My name is Michael Marquez, here joined by Leon Curry. Leon, what is a family of choice? And why are we talking about this as queer people?
Well, as queer people, like we've said before, you get to do a lot of choosing in your life anyway. When you find out you're different from the set path, then you have a chance to be like, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want. That comes through growing. But I guess the first and best example of a family of choice is your best friends, the people you talk to the most. That was my understanding. I grew up with a family I'm like, okay, this is my family. These are the people I have in spite of everything.
Yeah.
And then I met really cool people who I now consider as family, people I can talk about other things that I can't talk to my mom or because they don't understand, especially having like a queer background. Like they don't understand maybe my heartbreak or maybe the things I need to be protected from. And that's my idea of a family of choice.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think that there are so many experiences that you're going to encounter when you first come out as queer or gay, lesbian, trans, non-binary, and your biological family may not be able to give you that advice. And I think definitely you have people within our community who are probably a part of your friend group that can give you that guidance. So yeah, I think that is really important. According to the Chaplain Hall at the University of Chicago, LGBT young adults are 120% higher risk of homelessness.
Oh, wow. Since 2016, the suicide rates from 6 to 12-year-olds has doubled. There's recorded cases of children as young as 5 committing suicide.
Asante, what's up?
Micah, my heart, my pride and joy.
Everyone, love to introduce you to Asante Davis, my gay daddy, and host of the Friend Zone.
That's right. You might know me on the interwebs as Hey Asante, or if you don't know me, I go by Hey Asante. That's HEYASSANTE. I'm 1/3 of the Friend Zone podcast, mental health, mental wellness, because who in the hell wants a musty brain? You've heard Dustin say it.
Asante, we go so far back, man. I think I was 15 years old when we met. Something like 15, 16, back in Lenox Mall, here in Atlanta, Georgia. I was not yet actualized in myself as a out gay man, but you could see me.
Do you remember that day?
I do,
I vividly remember that day. I remember you coming into the Apple store and you wanted something fixed, but you were giving off something else. Like you were in the Apple store for a reason, but you were talking to me for an entirely different reason. I was thinking to myself, like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And I realized you was just young and hot in the pants.
I found myself comfortable talking to you.
Because you were young and hot in the pants. But you needed direction.
Yeah.
And I, at the time, was one to give people direction.
Yeah. And I remember when we met that day, he told me, whatever I came to the Apple store for, he helped me get it fixed. And he was like, hey, like, add me on MySpace, because these are the days of MySpace. And when, I want to say a few weeks went by, or maybe it wasn't that long, that I contacted you back, and I was like,
you messaged me.
I was like, hey, so I'm gay, and what can you tell me? Did I move to Atlanta yet, or was I just visiting?
No, you were visiting at this time, and I think you messaged me when you were moving back.
Yeah.
And so that's why we got back in. But I remember that first time that I saw you, I could tell you were like just young and how they say your mama always know that when you're gay.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but like seeing you come to the Apple store, I was like, I don't know if it's a young sweetness on them. I just know that there's something there. And then all my coworkers were like looking at all of their heads turned too. So I was like, okay, so he's a young poppin' hot gay too. So we really got to give him some sort of direction, because growing up in Atlanta, I just knew. I knew I was very familiar with homosexuality, and I was also very familiar with the fact that not everybody's families were going to be into that. So I just told myself that if I meet someone, it's not going to be of a sexual discourse. It's going to be very much of the root of their being. And I felt like you were just someone that a pure spirit. And I just wanted to get to know you and help you do whatever you wanted to do in life.
And you literally gave me that. When we started our interaction, our relationship, you literally were like, I'm going to be your guide and your gay daddy. I'm going to help you navigate this life because it is very specific. And you did that. And it was I feel like I had such a nuanced and breath of fresh air experience that not everyone gets, you know, when they first come into this life. But you were able to tell me, you know, and literally not judging any experience that I may have wanted to do, but you were like, just, you know, if you do X, Y, and Z, just keep in mind you won't be able to like undo that in a couple years.
Right.
If something gets done on the internet, that's gonna be that.
Right. Yeah, you know, it meant a lot to me going through school, like being at your age and seeing you and knowing that you're gonna go through more things. I was like, I remember meeting people at my age that were out of the closet, and some of them had, you know, terrible family issues or issues with their own self-esteem. So to see someone with such high esteem, but then I felt like you were probably confused about the waters. I wanted to make sure that like I married your esteem to your community, so you felt confident in navigating what you were doing. And I didn't want to add pressure or judgments. I just wanted you to feel free because I, you know, just real quick, I got to come out to my mom and she wasn't judgmental of that. So I know that that's a very uncanny experience for a lot of people in our community. So I wanted to make sure if I met people of our sexuality, I made anybody and everybody in the community feel as comfortable as possible. And then meeting you and knowing you were young, I wanted you to feel comfortable, but I also wanted to empower you to help other people. So it's such a great full circle moment sitting here with you on your platform where you do such great work, you know, being body positive and helping other people become comfortable with themselves. And I'm a proud dad. That's all I got to
Thank you. And I literally want I want to be able to just to say like even and it's such a privilege to be able to say thank you on camera. But like, yeah, thank you, seriously, like for providing me that guidance, but also just like, to this day, we're 15 years later, and now I've relocated to New York after you. And once again, you're like providing me community, providing me safe space, and everywhere I go, and like, you know, we talk about everything from A to Z, and I'm just like, I feel like it's such a blessing. There are some people that are meant to come into your life, and you're definitely that in my life.
Yeah, you came into my life at a time too, though. Like for me, even though it was important for me to empower you as a younger person, it was also important for me to feel like I fill the shoes as a role model. So it's like I wanted to make better decisions for myself. Even though I want to do that already, it was like now that I know I have someone watching me who I want to do good in life, I also have to, you know, show and prove. And so to know that you're looking at me and you're like, thank you for making me want to stay on the right path and to do the right things. Because especially in this lifestyle, you can get lost in any vice. But I feel like you and I both navigated so responsibly to where we can open doors for other people. And that's why we use this platform to expand others' lives. So I'm just so happy. I don't need to thank you. I just need you to continue doing the great work that you do.
Amen. Amen. You're gonna keep on getting the thanks. So what is a gay family? Like, let's talk about that. I've called you my gay dad here on camera. You've called me a gay son, but like, let's help the cis hets understand what is a gay family, why do we need it, where does it come from, all that.
Well, cis hets, gay family is chosen family, people that you confide in, you choose, or they choose you, or the universe chooses for you, or you chose before you got here. It can be anything that you want to be, and they can be your circle, or they choose to be, and your support system, and just there for you through good, bad, or whenever, at any time in life. Because I feel like there have been times where we haven't been as connected, but we've come back around and still had that same like first time interaction. Even that first time interaction, we both felt so familiar.
Like I knew you already. Like I met, and I think we said that. I'm like, have we met before?
Because you were like, you just kept looking at me. You just kept like, I need to get this fixed. I'm like, you need to get what fixed? Like what's the problem? I just remember us looking at each other and smiling. We just kept like feeling, I don't know, like there was a mystery there. But it's just grown. And even then, even though it was a mystery, it was like a mystery out of love, like a labor of love. And we continue to build, and that's so amazing. But chosen family is just that strength that you might have missing in other connections that are close to you or were birthed to you by blood, but you can make that connection with anybody that you feel really gives you what you need.
Yeah, and I will say, shortly after that season of meeting you, I was disowned from my biological family. Like my daddy told me he was no longer my daddy, and the devil was my daddy. And it was one of the hardest periods and seasons of my life. But knowing that I had already had you in my life, and you had already helped me begin to navigate a community that would love and embrace me regardless, was definitely comforting. You know, like, and Atlanta in general can be, as you said, a whirlwind of vices. Right. It is a black and brown gay mecca. Like whatever you want to get into, you can. And so having somebody to like guard and guide you is so important. And yeah, it did so much for me. And I definitely don't think, I know I wouldn't be where I am today without the proper guidance.
That means a lot because, you know, I didn't, growing up, I grew up in a single family household anyway. So like my mom, she was the figurehead, and it was one of my other siblings. We grew up together. But my father wasn't around, and when he wasn't around, I told myself, I was like, I'm going to become the man that I want to be. I'm not going to look for that. And it wasn't that like I'm going to just actively not look for it. I just wanted to give myself the pieces that I felt missing. And I also wanted to make sure I was doing that for other people I met along the way. I didn't want it to become like a whole, like we gonna, like nothing wrong with actual like families, like houses and stuff, but I didn't know that landscape at the time. So I just wanted to become like a pillar and a source. So to hear you say any of that is just so otherworldly.
And I guess just to make that clarification, we are not like in any ballroom house. Like our gay family.
No ballroom. Sorry, I don't duck walk or anything.
Yeah, but like, but the connection, the familiarity, the camaraderie, the support is all the same, and just it's massive, and it has in life changing. So just thank you so much, Asante. Thank you for what you continue to do in creating family on your podcast and on the many platforms that you do. I think that you do such an amazing job of making people feel seen and heard, communities specifically that just feel like they don't have a voice. They listen to you and they're like, oh, I got something here. Like you see me.
Thank you.
So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today on Deviant TV. Everybody, Asante Davis, tell us about houses. What do you mean by that? The House of Targaryen?
The House of Tarjay? Or the house of just someone saving you because you get kicked out of your own house. We have these familial units, and it's based around the ballroom scene, but it's definitely more. So I'm not very well versed in it, but I see where you may have someone who is in the house of Garcon, let's say, and they rep each other very hard. They support each other. They go hard for each other. And they also do community work. They bring people in who are younger. They just bring outsiders in and show them you're not alone. You're not outside. From my understanding of it, like if you've watched Pose, that's everyone's go-to.
Or Paris is Burning.
Or Paris is Burning, and it shows if you get beyond the story, you see a family. And that's what we need. Welcome back, Deviants. Here we are for a more in-depth look at our subject, families of choice. And we're sitting here today with a friend, a son, an uncle, a father, Lariah Garcon of the legendary House of Garcon, and also an entrepreneur with Butch Queen Apparel, right? And I'm saying that right? And anything else you want to add, anything that I may have forgotten?
No, you got it right.
All right, okay. First, tell us for those who may not know, because I love all things Butch Queen. What is a Butch Queen?
A Butch Queen is a masculine, or it doesn't have to be masculine, just a gay male that has both masculine and feminine characteristics, traits about themselves, who juggle both, who are comfortable in both. Therefore, all gay men, if you see yourself as such, you can definitely rock the apparel or go by a Butch Queen or,
I'm gonna get the sweats. I love the sweats. You gotta go check it out.
Thank you.
And we're talking about families of choice, and that centers around ballroom for some of this episode. And I know you've been in the scene for 10 years or 10 plus years, or you've been in there long enough to be a legend.
Yes.
And every time I see the pictures, the costumes are just great, executed immaculately. And it's just something that should be it's just art at this point. It's a piece of art. How did you stumble into the scene? Because you're from Stuart, Florida.
Yes.
And my knowledge of ballroom, it's not really prevalent in Florida. So
Correct.
how did you stumble into it?
So yes, it's not big in Florida. The ballroom scene it's a staple in New York. It's one of the staples besides Atlanta. When I first moved to New York, I got approached by one of the ballroom members who's one of my gay mothers, Aaliyah, and she thought that would be a good fit for her house at the time. And she approached me and was like, oh, you're beautiful. You should come join my house. Have you ever heard of ballroom? I asked more questions about it. And what she thought that I would be a good fit for as far as what category I should walk. She told me, the category was sex sign. And then, I was interested. I had always heard about ballroom. I've seen ballroom on YouTube. But I'm from Florida. It was,
yeah, not a lot of access to it.
Not a lot of access to it. It was just, hit by here or I would see it around. And then when I actually got the chance to actually get into it, I was excited. I knew about it. So she brought it to me. I was like, oh, good. This is my chance to, get into it. And I won my first ball. Actually, we met in October. I won my first ball that November in 2012, New York City. My first ball, and I actually got chopped because I decided to drink, get drunk before the first ball because I was so nervous. And I learned from that mistake, and from then it was like I got better and better, and it just took
now
off.
You just out here half naked on the runway.
Yes.
And you're telling us about being a house father. How does that feel?
It feels good. I never seen myself becoming a house father so soon. I like to consider myself an introvert, where I don't really, deal with too many people or like I didn't say but I just like to say to myself. I'm just, to me. So, being a father role and dealing with different people and personalities and kids, even kids that are considered kids that are older than me, taught me a lot about myself, getting those phone calls at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or touching on topics such as mental health was all new to me, taught me a lot about myself. And no one taught me. It's just, kind of learning as I go type of thing. And I actually love it. I don't mind. I don't mind it at all. I have kids, gay kids of my own that I made, or these are kids that I had through ballroom that I made more personal relationships. And yeah, I love it. I love it.
So it's a big family element. And you were telling me about your own family. How do you mix the two, your gay family? And it seems very close, a very tight-knit group. It can almost blur. How does your biological family deal with this? Or not deal with it, but how do they view it?
They're okay with it now. More so my mom. I know when I first got into gay families back in 2010, my first gay mother, Carmen, who's still my gay mother to this day, we've been since 2010, so it's been, 12 years now? She took me in. I didn't run from home. I kind of just left because I wanted to be in a lifestyle I wanted to experience it. I was curious.
Yeah.
So by the time I was 18, I was, I left home. I didn't go to college. Right after high school, I moved to Orlando, where she lives, and she took me in. And there were 3 other trans women that had kids of their own. We all stayed in one apartment. They all had 3 kids apiece. And we would go to the club, eat together. None of us had jobs. It was just, we were just running and living life. But she also taught me how to be independent. She never spoiled me. She taught me how to go out and look for a job and become independent.
And I guess these people are all around the same age though. We say mother and father, but ages don't seem to be a thing.
Yes, my gay mother I'm 30, she's 35.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but they already had already had the experience, so they were more mature and more equipped, and they just seemed older to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I was comfortable calling her mother. But to touch base back in my mom, she was away actually incarcerated when I got into all this. So when she got out, she seen me calling. I think she was on Facebook. She seen me calling my gay mother mom, and she kind of flipped the wrist oh, that's not your mom. I birthed you, and it was a big thing. And I had kind of break it down to her, and she still wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
It took, I think, them actually meeting.
Oh.
And them having a talk, and she know that my gay mom, Carmen, didn't mean no harm, or trying to own me or anything. She
or try to make you turn against you.
Right. She respected it. So now it's they're actually friends now.
I was about to say, do they still keep up?
Yeah, they're cool now. So that works in my favor.
It's beautiful because you don't hear about the mixing of the families. You only hear about one or the other. How does somebody get into ballroom?
Nowadays, I would say just being in balls. I think making yourself known. Leaders in ballroom are always looking for fresh talent. 007s, that they will call them, people who are not in houses. And they will get scouted if your talent is great or if we see fit. I know for me, if I see that you're qualified or if I think will be a great fit in my house, I will approach you, try to recruit you, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. And how can we reach you? And how can we buy Butch Queen apparel? How can we see the whole full Lariah experience?
Reach me on Instagram at Lariah Lee, Facebook Lariah Lee, Twitter at Lariah Lee, houseofbutchqueen.com is where I sell my apparel. And yeah.
So Leon, you talked about friend groups becoming your family of choice. Tell me about your friends, your family of friends. Yeah.
They're family now. Like, it took me a long time to get there to call someone family outside of my family, and because that's trust. Like, I feel like you can call family for anything. And with friends, you have to learn who you can call. Like, even first moving to New York, I've been through some friend circles and people who I necessarily haven't fallen out with, but we just grown apart and we've stopped talking. That hasn't ended our bond, but they're not the people I'm calling up to go to vacation with, or the people I'm calling because I'm nervous that a test result might come back crazy or not crazy. But the people who know everything about me, maybe even know me better than I know myself.
Yeah.
And that takes time.
Yeah.
And that's building relationship.
Yeah.
So that's like, it's not ballroom based. I'm not too well versed in the ballroom scene, but I can see where that home element comes in. Like, it's always nice to have someone to call. I'm away from New York right now. If anything happens with my apartment, I can ask a friend to go, hey, can you go unlock my door and check on this for me?
Yeah.
And that is that closeness that we often miss out on.
Yeah.
And it's a bond that takes time to build. But I think that time is the perfect, because that's a trust establishment kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the people I want to go on vacation with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, about your friendships. Like, you said you had people that you called friends but weren't intimate.
Yeah, I definitely had those friendships in my life, or people that I would call a friend, because we'd go out and just have a good time together. We'd get blasted at the bar or whatnot, but we never really had anything to point to substantive about our relationship. And I think that when certain situations, real life shit happened, some of those people weren't there at the end of the day. And what those situations actually did reveal to me was who would be there at the end of the day. And I think that it caused both myself to mature in those situations, but also caused my relationships to mature, because I began to learn that my friend circle and those folks who I'm going to call on at the end of the day and call family of my choice are going to know how to show up for me. And they're going to also hold me accountable on how to show up for them.
Yeah, a friend is something you have to kind of learn how to be.
Yeah.
As the older you get,
Yeah.
maybe the fewer friends you really actually have.
Yeah.
But a lifelong friend is like one of the best things. Someone you actually get excited about seeing, no matter how long you've known each other. That's always an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think finding your tribe is like truly can be a blessing, it is a blessing, because you always have this amazing support system that you can call on for anything. It reminds me, all I have going on in my head right now is my girlfriend. And I'm thinking about...
but that's how it is. Like, that's a great example
Yeah.
of friendships. That's a great example of the ups and downs and not how to I know in our community, I hate to say our community, we've been community to death, but we often find people who just want to hang out, friends with ulterior motives, and to navigate through all that, to find someone who's actually going to care for you is the sweet spot.
All right. And Deviants, welcome back on this episode of Families of Choice. I am joined here with Mr. DeAndre Gresham, who is my family of choice. Dre, it's so good to see you again.
Same here.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but on this episode, we're talking about the need for queer people of color specifically to find and create family for ourselves. You and I met at such an important period of my life, such a changing point in my life. As you know, oh my God, I've actually talked to the camera about having moved all my stuff out of my parents' apartment at the time, snuck it out the window into my friend's car, and moved it down to who I was dating. That was you. That was your car. I don't know if you remember, but yes, I snuck all my stuff out the window. I remember the screen already being out of my window, because when we would go to Trax Atlanta on Saturday, that was like
That's how you got there.
That's how I got there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we go way back. We're talking 17 going on 18. We found each other, found family, even deeper than community. We quickly learned that, we were going to be part of each other's lives. And shortly after that period, I would get disowned from my family. And it took us, to a very, just like a place in life that was it became so close for us because at the same time I was disowned from my dad finding out that I was queer. My younger sister, Kayla, also got kicked out of home. And shout out to Kayla. Yeah, she got kicked out of our home. And I remember her crying, calling me from the bus station, the Greyhound bus station. She had nothing but bags full of clothes. And I remember that summer I was going through so much with being disowned, and I had you to lean on, and you're helping wipe my tears. I'm staying at Clark Atlanta University at the time. The guy that I'm dating and staying in his dorm room. And when my little sister called and she's crying, the only person I could think to call was you. And I think you got there before I did to meet her. And I remember talking to you and you're like, she's fine. I'm here with her. She's safe, because that was my biggest concern. I think, I remember just like, waking up in the middle of the night to that call, calling you. And when I finally reached the both of you, she cried in my arms, but also she had already found family too.
Absolutely.
In you. And Dre, for you to have been there for Kayla and I cannot even begin to tell you how much that changed the trajectory of our lives. I think I'm saying all this and recollecting because I never got an opportunity, I feel, to properly just tell you thank you. Because I don't know where I would have been had I not had you, and I didn't know that the friend I was meeting at the time would have been and become the gay parent that I needed. So, people don't understand when we use terminology with gay families, right? But there's this terminology called gay family, right. And Kayla and I called you mother.
Yes.
And I didn't know that my friend I was meeting at the time was going to be my mother, in the sense that you were going to care for us, that you were going to provide for us, that you were going to look out for us when our biological families did not. So, taking myself back, what was that experience like for you? What brought you to care?
It's crazy because while you were saying all that, all I could think about is, for every different point you made, is that it was the right thing to do. It's that simple. That's the right thing to do. You did the right thing. And it's sad that, with our families and, parents, sometimes that it's that hard to do the right thing. It's absolutely, it's sad, that we're not given the opportunity to be ourselves, and that the family that's supposed to love us no matter what, unconditionally, that they don't do that. And so I would say at that time it was easy for me, do the right thing. If I could do it, I would do it. Y'all stand there not paying whatever, or me not requiring me, at least, it was the right thing to do. I didn't need it, so ultimately it was a way to give back. And not that I was thinking about it like that. It's just like, you needed help, so I helped you. She needed help, so I helped her. We kind of all bonded in to help Kayla. Yeah. Shout out to Kayla.
Come home to y'all, J-Set.
Yeah, no, to me that was we were also a part of a bigger family, so it was kind of the same thing for me. It was having other people who could affirm you and let you know that you're okay, let you know that you are valid in every piece and corner and crook and crevice of yourself. And so, me being affirmed, me being confirmed, me being poured into allowed me to do the same thing. So it wasn't anything to think about. It wasn't anything I didn't have to try, if that makes sense. And I enjoyed it.
Before I leave this episode, right, tell me how you went about finding that gay family that I would become a part of.
Wow. It's crazy because they found me. They found me. I wanted the experience so bad. Not necessarily didn't know it was going to be a family, but I just wanted the experience of having others around that could confirm and affirm, me, who I was, and the lifestyle, and, everything. again, we met in high school and we didn't know anything about each other. And, you know, I kind of ran into them all at the club. Speaking of tracks, you know.
Good old tracks.
Memories. And, you know, it was seeing somebody I knew, seeing a familiar face, seeing somebody who kind of grew up where I grew up, came from the school I came from, the neighborhood I came from. It was so refreshing.
Deviants, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Families of Choice. Dre, you are my family, and I'm so privileged, honored, and grateful for you being here today on Deviant TV, for you being in my life and sharing these moments and experiences even with our viewers today. DeAndre Gresham, we know that you are a photographer here in Atlanta.
Yes,
you're also an artist, and you just released a song called Holiday.
The song is not yet on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, but it'll be out on December 31st. The music video will also be out January 1st. But just DeAndre Lamond's Holiday, DeAndre Lamond's on Instagram and YouTube. You can find the song.
Awesome.
We often find people who just want to hang out, friends with ulterior motives, and to navigate through all that to find someone who's actually going to care for you is the sweet spot.
Yeah, and I mean, Leon, you and I, we've talked about so much over the last few days, and we've talked about even love, right? And I think that when we talk about families of choice, this is one thing I, reconcile in my love life is that my love life may not end up with the one, as society has tried to frame that narrative of what love is supposed to look like. But then I see shows like The Golden Girls, and I'm like, I know who my Rose is. I know my Blanche. I know, and I just think that it excites me even more to think about, being in old age and knowing who my tribe is and being able to laugh with them still and reflect and have moments where we're waking up in the middle of the night having dessert. I really love The Golden Girls.
Seeing you with I can see seeing you with your friend group has been especially like a blessing because it's great to see people who actually love and support each other in a genuine way, even when no one is looking.
Yeah.
Like you have those kiki moments, you have inside jokes. It's just nice to see. It feels good. It's like a form of warmth.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone can have that.
Absolutely. Everyone deserves that authentic, genuine love, so that it harkens that authentic, genuine part of themselves. Families of choice are a really important part of a support system that we can curate and create here in our community. And cannot go without saying the family and supportive system that you formed at Trappy.
Oh yeah, I'm trying.
It's literally like a Black gay mecca, and we know that within that Trappy family, we have every Thursday and Sunday we can come together, and you can shoot the shit and chill at the bar if you want, or you can go turn up. You can be as ratchet or as classic.
I find that works because I actually care. I actually care about the people who come in. Now, I can't call them all friends, and some of them I do not like, but I care about them. I care when they leave. Yeah. And I think, sometimes if people in your family, you don't have to necessarily like them all the time to care about them. Yeah. And I think in our community, our queer community, care is important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Deviants, family, thank you for being a friend.
That was cute. Yes. Keep your day job, though.
Folks, we're looking forward to seeing you and hearing from you. We want to hear your voices. Meet us at deviant.live/play so that we can hear back from you. On there, you're going to find surveys about this episode as well as many other episodes of Deviant TV. We're looking forward to continuing to make you a part of our Deviant family here on Deviant TV.
See you later.